Hi guys, welcome back to Kit Car Direct and MK Sportscars. Back in the workshop. It's a little bit chilly outside, so we're all inside and it's all about the builds that are going on inside. So let's get into the RX5 build. Right guys, you're going to talk through an RX5 build. We've got one here that's going to be hashtag John's car. This build is new in, the chassis arrived and so have all the donor parts. So what I thought I'd do today, just give you a snippet of the best value, I would say, sports car out there right now with the RX5, with the Mazda running gear in our chassis and everything else. So amazing value for money, brilliant performance, stunning looks, and you get just a full-on package, which if you go onto our YouTube channel and you want to see an unbiased opinion, go into Jam and Cars, Lewis will pop up your link and see what the RX5 is all about. This is it guys, this is where it starts with your donor car. So basically what we have is we do a single donor kit, which is basically this here, and all of these components which you purchase from us, including your donor parts which come from your donor car, which I'm going to talk through now, builds you a completed car. The awesome bit about it is the Mazda running gear is really sublime. The gearbox is amazing, the engine is so tunable from 140 horsepower, 150 horsepower for a VVT up to 200 whatever you want really horsepower with a turbocharged conversion. So here we're talking the donor parts. Now some light refurbishment has been done on these ones already, with a little bit more to do, but let's talk through where you would need to be on your donor car. Right, what we're going to talk about here is the donor parts themselves. So on these are the nice spindly light, and pretty light actually. These are the front uprights for the Mazda MX-5. Then you would need the bearing carrier. There's new bearings going on this particular one, that's the reason they're off. Then the rear ones, these are also not particularly heavy also. The rear complete upright here. And again, new bearings are going in, that's why that's been removed. While we're on the rear, you're looking at the drive shafts. These have also been removed, painted, there's new bearings going on those. And then the brake calipers. Now front and rear is available, you can do both, but the customer's having an upgrade on his one, but we've got the rear ones here, which will incorporate the slider and the handbrake, but they're just being powder coated at the moment. Then we move along. And no particular order here guys, we've got the steering column here, this is straight off the donor vehicle. The steering link bar, now the steering link bar comes into us and that gets modified, we will lengthen that. The prop shaft, this has been modified already, this is the Mazda one that then gets shortened to fit in your donor vehicle. We've got the exhaust manifold off of the vehicle, we use that and make our own link pipe. Then we're on to the differential. And this has been stripped and as you can see braced, this has been welded. You kind of need it really, it's a known fact of a failure. It's the only thing that I know is a failure on an MX-5 is a little notch in the rear here and it does snap the ear, so the bracings are really good at all, well for that service, or you may have somebody who can do it for you themselves. This is the plenum off the engine, so we've got the engine here, this is a Mark 2.5. So it's got the VVT, which you can tell on the top here, this is a VVT. Non-VVTs have nothing here, basically. A little bit more refreshing need to do on that. We've got the gearbox, straight out of the donor vehicle, and the clutch, which is having a new one. Unless you find it, you may get your vehicle, the donor vehicle, the clutch may be perfectly serviceable, but if not, new clutch to go in. Alternator, which does need a little bit of refurbishment on it there as well. Starter motor. That's also just going to need a little bit of a dusting over and checking and cleaning, etc. We will fire that up to make sure it is operational. Things like the airbox here, don't need the airbox itself, but the mass airflow sensor, which is this, that plugs in, we do a little modification on that to reuse it. Obviously engine I spoke about, and we got the sump. Now this particular customer's had our shortening service, it's been shortened, it's actually got a turbo drain fitted in there as well in case it wants to be turboed at a later date. You can do that now, blank it off if necessary then, if you're not doing that at this moment in time. And then we move things like handbrake levers, handbrake cables, which are these, so you can reservice these. If not, you can buy these, they're relatively cheap. And these are all the bearings, wheel bearings of it that are new. And also then, depending which route you go, but the instrumentation like the clocks, which are down here actually, and we've got the clocks, which if you're doing the RX5, we make the dashboard even, gentlemen, dashboard for it that fit the standard clocks, and they look pretty cool actually. In fact, Lewis will give you a little shot of that. And the final part here, the little handbrake lever off the Mazda, which is actually a really nice item, a very easy to use, a serviceable item. Mustn't forget things like this, which is the link part of the handbrake cable. And the final part, which we use as a new item, but I haven't got it here at the moment, is the fuel filter and fuel pump, which we fit into the fuel tank and the filter obviously in line. So once they pop in, actually it might be there, actually it's down there, the fuel pump and that as well, and it fits into our tank. In fact, we'll give you a B-roll shot of that as well. Right, and the final spaghetti bit is the wiring loom. So you want the wiring loom, the ECU and everything else that goes out to it as you've done a vehicle, or as this customer's done actually, we can supply you with a new loom, new engine harness and a new ECU, especially if you want to go down a turbo route at a later date and you want all new systems that are running, then that's an option for you as well. Right guys, well, moving on from the donor parts to the bits that then the donor parts bolt to, which is first off the chassis. Now what we do is we'll try to do is take as much of the hard work out for you guys as possible by putting some of the bits in that would fit. So we have here the plates in ready to accept, the engine mounts. These are the engine mounts here ready for it. We have the front rockers, which is for these, for the push rod system, and these are the push rods. These come in the kit. We also have now a new design how we do it. We don't weld on the headlight brackets. We now have these as a bolt-on affair, and we do a couple of various options on those as well. We then have the front and rear wishbones, which are down here for you. We've got obviously independent suspension all round on front and rear. And then we put in all of the bits to mount the wishbones, the steering rack, the brake tees, the steering columns, the mounts for this. We can offer a floor pan fitting service as well, or if you feel like you want to do every bit yourself, you can fit the floor pan yourself, or we offer that with a powder coating service. All the brackets are made in for the handbrake handles. This accommodates for the Mazda one. The diff mounts are all in here as well. These are made up. We actually use a diff pretty much for the jig, for the handbrake, and then all the fuel tank fixings, all the bosses for seatbelt mounts, roll cages. We do a couple of different options on roll bar and roll cages as well, and we put in, as you probably, if you've subscribed already, we put in the roll cage mounts if you want to upgrade at a later date. So first job is, where would you start with this particular vehicle? Well, you'd start with the brake lines really. You'll see this build progress over the next few months or so. So if you subscribe and you want to see how it comes together, give you an option. But first job is brake lines. We have these here. We've started bending the front ones, putting in the brake tees down here and out to where we put in the braided hoses. Then these connect to the pedal box and the master cylinders, and our little pedal box arrangement is this. It's a very nice billet affair, all branded up with the MK logo, which is pretty nice, and that's a bias adjustable one and adjustable in height and left and right on the pedals actually as well. So that's a really nice bit of kit, nice and easy to fit, and actually when you're driving a vehicle it's very nice because the accelerator pedal, as I'll show you on here, it's actually spring loaded, so it makes a huge difference to how the car feels to drive. So chassis wise, this is how it will come to you in a powder coated format, and then once you start bolting all the components onto it, the build manual that's online still being updated actually as we speak, because we're always revising with new updates or new ways of bracketry and mounting. How we're doing the radiator brackets now is slightly different to how we used to do it a few years ago, so we're updating some of the versions. But this is it. This is the RX-5. Now if you want to know more about that range, hook us up a phone call, email, come and see Neil or Andy here at the showroom as well. We can take you out in a demo car, give you a little drive. You can see how they handle. They perform amazing on the road. It's just a nice compliant car, very easy to drive. It's just like getting into an MX-5 but with a ton more performance. Right, that's a wrap guys for part one of the RX-5 build and the progress. So if you're subscribing now or you want to tune in for next week, we'll talk through part two, which is about the build process, what optional extras available, what else comes in the kit, or how in the modules they build. It's a long video guys, so we've broken it down into modules, so we'll probably be 4 or 5 modules here. We'll talk about it and you get to see it being built and what options are available. That's it for this week. Remember to like, share, subscribe guys, and any questions, fire us on a messenger or Facebook or email and we'll happily sort you out.